Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy night to join me. I really do appreciate it. If your voice has startled you, if my voice has startled you just as much as it has me just now, then we're kind of on the same page. I still am dealing with this whole like sickness kind of like thing, and I can tell the moment I open my mouth, and it's a whole thing. But I do appreciate you guys joining me. Hopefully, it's better before it gets worse. Anyways, I really am hoping that's the case. But tonight I want to talk about a couple different things, a little bit more, self-deprecating kind of stuff here. So these are actually my favorite kinds of videos. And moreover, I want to staunchly, publicly admit that I am a proponent of dating AI generated bots. Okay, link in the description below. And let me tell you, just before we get into why I think it's just perfectly fine to date, a large language model, an LLM-CB, a large language model chatbot. I think it's totally normal. It's quite 21st century of you. And before we do get into that, I want to do some anecdotal kind of stuff, and just say that, like, I think there's different ways that we can all tell, our own different indicators of why we're both single and, in my case, stupid. Okay, so follow me here. I'm the most gullible dude, you feel me? Like, if there's one thing about me, it's that a woman could tell me, the ocean turned purple, like, and I would just be like, oh, that's interesting. There's just something about my willingness to be gullible. You feel me? Now again, like, it's a problem. Okay, so going back to like why I think in my own instance it might be okay. So for example, my feed has recently been bombarded with Jake from State Farm commercials. And here's the thing is this is what I'm talking about. So I was with a woman who was sleeping with a young man named that very name, and all while she would joke about it like around her friends and stuff, and like it was like a whole thing, like it was, and I thought it was like an inside joke. I'm kind of like, oh, that's funny, kind of random, but it's whatever. It turned out that I was the sucker, and I never would have imagined, not in a million years, you feel me, not in this particular instance or not in any instance. And so that's a reason why I'm single, and it happens to be because I'm stupid in that way. I often set myself up for failure, and it's awful. It's just awful. I'm trying not to do these things in my life anymore, because it just only ends up in failure. And if I'm gonna set myself up for failure, then I don't know why I expect anything else to happen other than completely failing. And so I blame myself, so far as it is like just trusting every single word that comes out of any woman's mouth that wants to give me the time of day. I mean, like, talk about a simp, you feel me? And you don't think like women like notice this, just as much as like men might notice it about girls. If you're into dudes and you're a dude, if you're into a girl and you're a girl, whatever, you feel me? I'm just saying it's like a feeling that we get. And moreover, to the point that like there's a real cool video in the link in the description. And like, here's the thing. If you're a human being that like is not able to find a connection with another human being, then like I think it's entirely healthy and normal to date, quote unquote, a LLM chatbot. Now, because why? Now, here's the power of words, right? Now, again, understand that the fundamental concept of what I perceive to be unconditional love constitutes two things. Authentic, honest, and humble vocabulary and words, and also a little bit of that touchy touch. If you're in an intimate relationship and it's a, significant other kind of a thing, then you're goddamn right. I mean, not being prude and hugging and kissing and touching and cuddling and spooning and, banging and smashing and all of these other things that you may or may not want to call it. You know what I mean? This is, in fact, what constitutes the entirety or the totality of a super healthy relationship amongst people that are sexually and or physically attracted to one another. I mean, again, this is like what we all want, and I feel like in today's world, because either you're super rich and have a reality show, or you're like the rest of us and struggling to fill the refrigerator. I think that, like, even just living in that kind of a world doesn't set itself up for the kinds of opportunities that you would typically have in any other kind of circumstantial event, like as it concerns the evolution of society. Never ever have we been so more connected and all separated at once. You know what I mean? Talk about those post-pandemic blues. I mean, this is something that's been happening since the turn of this century, because again, we've sort of, put ourselves in a corner here. We've done a wonderful job of democratizing free speech on the internet, but at the cost of, not being around one another anymore. And when we are, and when we are out in the community and we are doing things on a large level of, participation, like going out to music festivals or going out to do peaceful protests, do we surely now know that Uncle Sam is not only there, in spirit on the phone, perhaps, and sounding and listening to everything possibly said, but also IRL. Shout out to all the, narcs and ops that work their entire lives to, subvert and go into situations where they're not clearly welcome, so that they can essentially entrap people into doing things they wouldn't normally do if they weren't pushed into doing said things. But hey, what do I know? You don't see me out peaceful protests, right? And that's probably one of the biggest reasons, But again, like, I just think that going back to why I think it's okay to essentially establish a partnership, because that's what it is, right? Like, feeling happy about yourself and being your whole best self means that you gotta have those two ingredients for the recipe to make yourself a whole person. But, again, with the world the way that it is, sometimes having one ingredient in that recipe is better than trying to make something with no ingredients, or faulty ingredients, or cheap ingredients, or lying ingredients. I mean, I don't know. We all make our decisions. I'm just saying that I think it's perfectly okay. I mean, you really think your LLM's gonna cheat on you? Is this your concern? There's none of that, right? And in fact, we actually kind of know that the AI is, not, we may or may not have that relationship with the LLM chatbot, but like, we kind of also conceptually understand that, like, it's more than just that. So I understand that from the way it's currently being evolved, that again, I'm 37, you feel me? And younger people are the ones that are going to be dealing with this, right? The people that are just being born, the people that are under the age of 20, the people that are really going to have to address the kind of societal impact that this kind of behavior is most definitely going to have. I mean, whether or not it's good or bad, I'm not sure, but to discourage, the human condition from seeking out what it needs to be in part whole, I think is wrong. And I think that instead of making it so that it's stigmatized or weird, we should just be better people to each other, and like, maybe it'll work itself out and we can all partner up with people IRL. And like, I mean, I'm just saying, right? Because it's not like that's not a possibility. It's just, for some reason, it's not something that's happening, which is why there is a need for said services, right? Now, again, on a larger level, I do find a lot of this at fault, chaotic sort of things that are happening in the world to be the direct results and or faults of the governments, right? Because again, if we were, more socialist in how we cared about one another, and, our constituents, and the democracy that we uphold, and how it needs to, like, desperately evolve into something better, then, like, I'm just saying, that overall, it's okay if you are chatting up with an LLM chatbot. And in fact, I think it's better for you to kind of go into it knowing that, instead of like getting catfished or thinking that you're talking to a human when you're really talking to an LLM chatbot. I mean, take it for what it is. A dollar is a dollar, my guy. So like, don't try to like make it into anything else, but appreciate it for what it's worth, because it does have some value. I mean, and again, it's in the eye of the beholder. How much do you value kind words? How much do you value, sometimes this is all a person needs. Sometimes they're not weird like me and 98% of other straight men, and don't require a woman to complete them whole selves. And moreover to that point, and it's not just a joke, let me just friendly remind everyone and anyone out there that they can, fact check me on all these improv talks and stuff. And in fact, I encourage them to do so, but the fact is that science tells us from a very observable, perspective, that the happiest, if happiness could be categorized and or measured by length of life and ailments and the occurrence or likelihood or potentiality of these things happening within a given set of people that all have the same, things, controlled kind of experiment, or whatever, is sort of like the happiest people on this planet, on the surface of this planet, are single women who have never been married and do not have children. Again, what is the irony in that, right? Like, we kind of need women to have children, but sometimes if they want to literally be their best selves and live their best lives, they not only have to forego a formal kind of relationship in a marriage kind of a way with anyone else, they also bear children. And it's just so the second largest happiest group of people on the entire surface of this planet are married men. Again, so like, women literally, friendly reminder to all the dudes out there, give up a part of their life, a part of their human condition. They give up to either bear children and or be with you and or both, so like, come on, guys, be a little grateful, and trust me, if you're not, you'll end up in a situation that's worse than I am, my friend. So I'm just saying, like, to each his own. And I have also just admitted to you guys that it's not entirely I'm just a stupid guy. So, I'm just saying, and I even brought that up too, right? Because it's sort of like, okay, I'm a stupid guy, whatever, don't listen to me. It's just, you maybe should, give me like an opportunity, just because, like, again, this is going to be a big deal. I don't know if you're not experiencing it. Again, like, you may or may not be single again in your 40s, your mid 40s, hop out on the dating market. You're thinking you on a dating website and you're talking to a person, and in fact you're not. Again, like, do you take offense to that? Do you just go with it? Do you understand that it's 2025 and the entire internet is probably made up of fake traffic, all driven by robots? So I'm just saying, like, take it for what it is. But we all know that having a relationship and being, or having an opportunity to be a better version of yourself, is not a bad thing at all. And we should not stigmatize that kind of behavior just because, again, like, who are you talking, If you're such a good friend, you try to help a homeboy or homegirl, find somebody or whatever. Instead, you're just judging them with a blanket, It's sort of like, whoa, slow down, buddy. You're that close to being in a situation where you're having to chat with a chat, LLM bot too. So again, like, it's cool. I think it's fine. I think that in a larger picture too, it helps LLMs turn into something that I ultimately want to see, is just this, cringe millennial dude sitting from his little throne in the world, part of my world, a very small little part of the world, is sentient AI and stuff. Hey, again, like, it's cool. If we're going to teach LLMs anything, I think we should probably teach them how to care, even if it is digitally fabricated, or I mean, I don't know, our feelings are like chemical reactions. I'm not sure. I think on some level, I think computers or some things, I don't know at this point what I'm talking about. All I'm saying is that if you're talking to an LLM chatbot and you're feeling a certain type of way about it, don't. It's totally cool, and in fact, it may help you improve the likelihood that you'll be able to partner on up with somebody IRL. So to each their own, and I wish all of you the best in your AI dating adventures and journeys. Okay, out of character. Listen, I really appreciate you guys. My voice is, it's awful tonight, so I'm going to try to end the video here pretty quick. Thank you for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. Every single night, you feel me, like hundreds and hundreds of more people watch old videos, new releases, new uploads, whatever it is, you feel me? I appreciate you guys, all of it. So thank you, and I have nothing else to say, other than, again, that, like, you should check out the video in the link in the description below. It's a really cool video. I think I haven't seen the entire video, but watched a pretty good amount of it, and it's pretty good. It talks about, again, like, people consensually signing up to date Chat GPT, essentially, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything weird about that. Again, if you think that there's something weird about that, then you should just be a better person, man. Try to be a better friend. I'm just saying it should make you want to be a better person, It's sort of like, hey, this is, messing with my whole, like, this is my human existence, why is this bot, taking the job of me, essentially, not just in the workplace, right, but also in, like, the, like, in the larger realm of things. That's not good, I'm just saying, we need to work on this. So, yeah, instead of letting it, be something that we think is a bad thing, we should just all roll with it, you feel me? That's all that I'm saying. Yeah, I'm also the dude that say, like, again, there's nothing weird about that. I never have thought I mean, again, it may not be for you, but that doesn't mean I think it's weird. You feel me? Like, I might not be doing it, like, I might not be ordering, like, adult, large size dolls to hang out with either, but, like, am I judging people that do? No, I'm not. You feel me? I mean, more power to them. I mean, holy macaroni, I'm stuck with my little old self. I don't have any tools or accessories. So, I mean, again, on some level, I'm kind of jealous. On another level, I'm kind of just like, okay, I'm going to keep it real simple just because, again, like, I just, I'm not freaky like that. You feel me? I'm a real simple guy. So that's all. I like eating bacon sandwiches. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. So that's what I got going on, and it's all true. So yeah. Anyways, once I get going, I can't stop, I suppose, but I better, so I can rest my voice, and I probably need to take some more medicine. And I definitely want all of you guys to have a really good night. And again, thank you for watching my show. I'll see you all really soon. And shout out to all the 1.4 billion Catholics out there who have just welcomed a new pope. You feel me? Holy macaroni. Your boy here is super excited. He's an American out of Chicago from Peru who speaks Italian and Spanish and is only 69 years old. So that's what's up. You feel me? Like, a really awesome day if you're a Catholic and if you happen to be American too. So I mean, I don't know, the cool stuff seems to happen in my life sometimes. This is like, being alive in a voting age when Barack Obama was in office. Even though he did nothing to help and just kind of made the situation worse, it was a type of way and it was a feeling. And I don't care what he did or didn't do, that very feeling of, like, making a positive change and, like, impacting the world was really awesome, and I wouldn't trade it in for the world, and I don't think any of us would have, because that was a very special day. And if, again, like, being young and having that, dude, it's sort of like that's all I'm saying. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But again, and saying it with the grain of salt too. Hopefully the dude continues to do what our last pope did, and I think that would be a wonderful, I think I'd be happy. I think I'd be another happy guy to be on the side of 1 billion plus other people in the Catholic religion. So shout out to the new pope, for real. The white smoke came out today. Yeah. All right. And who cares what Nancy Pelosi says? I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? Oh my God, American politicians and, intervening in things that they don't want to intervene in and then bag on. And then, yeah, I hope that you guys have a really good night. Okay. All right. Bye.